ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ. Hi everyone, good morning. Am I audible now? Please put comments if I'm audible. Okay, so there was a bit network problem. So let's begin once again. So last week we have already seen the introduction to data analytics course. So this week I'm going to start with the SQL, which is the most important uh, to, tool required for the data analytics. So let's begin. So before that, let me just introduce about our institute, Technocraft Academy. So in our academy, we provide trainings on the computer applications, spoken English classes, and CAD, CAM, and CA design for all the engineering or mechanical engineering students. Also, we provide data analytics and full stack development course. Along with the training, we also provide placement assistance and placement guarantee as well. So, which includes resume building, interview preparations, some soft skill training, also mock interviews, and all. We have a connection with the industry partners and HR recruitment team, so which help us to get the candidates placed in different companies. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to see the introduction to SQL for data analytics. Okay, let me wait for a couple of minutes for others to join and then we can get started. Okay, so first let us know what is SQL. So we all know that a SQL is a structured query language. So in simple meaning, we can say that it is a language which a computer or machine understands. So SQL is a structured language. So we call it as a structured query language. And SQL is like a standard programming language which is used for managing and manipulating the databases. Okay, so what is database? So we know that database is a collection of data. So there are very different companies which maintain the databases we have Oracle, SAP, MySQL, AWS, Postgres, etc. Okay, so in order to make you understand what is SQL in a common language, let me take a scenario. Like we have a bank. So now, like we use all the phone pay, ATMs, all internet banking. But earlier there was no internet banking. So that time a person has to visit a bank for any transaction. Either it would be a deposit or withdrawal of money. So a person has to visit a bank. So when, like in earlier days, when we, if you want to deposit some money, then after visiting a bank, then we would have a clerk, and clerk would provide us some channels, and there we used to fill all our information and then deposit the money. Okay. So now the clerk will, like if you want to deposit some money, then clerk will have a all record book where he'll maintain all our details, like account number, account holder name, and all. So for that, when we visit a bank for depositing a money, a clerk will call a peon. So he'll explain him all the things, like what is the name and account holder ID. So the peon will go and bring the respective record book. Then the clerk will enter all the information and deposit the money. So here, peon is nothing but a SQL, and the one clerk who is commanding him is nothing but a V, one who like provide commands to the software. So we are nothing but a clerk here. Okay. So what does peon work here is to just go and bring the book that a clerk is commanding him. So similarly, SQL is nothing but when we provide some commands, it goes to the database and gets the data for us. So this is how an example to understand SQL. Okay. So the next sentence, SQL helps you to interact with the data stored in the relational database, which is nothing but a relational database for us. In this scenario, it is a account related record book. Okay. So SQL is basically a very basic English language type of a query language. Okay. So it helps us to interact with all the different databases and then get the data. Okay, so now we know like what is database. Database is a collection of data. Then let us know what is on cloud and what is on premises data. So on premises data is nothing but the data that is stored on our machine, and which we are owning it, and no other person can retrieve or do any manipulation on it. So it is a on premises data. So for on cloud data is nothing but, even though it is our data, but we provide it to the other companies to maintain it. So and we pay for that, so that is called a on cloud data. Okay, so the data will not be in our, like we don't have any infrastructures or machines or some hardware hard disk to store the data. There will be a different company which stores our data securely, uh, without any discrepancies or without losing any data. So for that we pay. Okay, for example, we have a Oracle, Amazon Web Services, SAP, and all. So these are the different companies for which we pay, and they maintain our data. So it is very difficult to have a large quantity of data on our machine or a hard disk. So we may not have budget to invest on this infrastructure and hard disk to hold very large millions and millions of data. So for that reason only, these companies came up with an idea, like they hold our data, they own it, but they don't. The data will be very secured and private. Okay. So now let's see what are the key functions that SQL does. Okay, so SQL is used for retrieving data and then inserting, updating, and deleting the data from all the databases, and creating and modifying database structures, which means creating the tables, storing the data, and then updating it if you want to retrieve it or if you want to delete it. So everything is done by SQL. So since machine understanding its a language, so we use it for all the database structures. Okay, so database. So now, okay, so now we may get a thought like why SQL is required for data analytics. Okay, so next topic is why SQL is required for data analytics. So in order for we need to analyze the data, we need to first fetch the data. So for that we need a SQL. So often like data is stored in databases. So in order to fetch the data and load in the our tools, we need a SQL. And after getting the data, after extracting it, we need to modify it, like we need to transform it into the our requirement, according to our requirement. So for that also we use a SQL. So we can provide some of the SQL commands and transform it according to our requirement. Okay, so for that also SQL is required. And SQL is very must for all the like a data analyst, data scientist, or a business analyst. It may be any field in the data. SQL is very essential skill to be a data analyst. Okay. Now we know what is SQL and why it is essential for data analytics. So here in this course, we are mainly going to concentrate on the Oracle SQL. There are the other SQLs also available like MySQL, PostgreSQL, PL SQL, and all. So you guys can learn that as well. But in this our course, I'm going to concentrate on Oracle SQL since it is very widely used. So let's begin with the Oracle SQL. So before that, let me go through some of the steps for the installation of SQL. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the Oracle Apex, which is mainly used for learning purpose. This is only for training and learning purpose for these students like us who is interested in learning SQL. Okay, so let's get started. So for the first step is like we need to go to browser. Okay, first we'll go to browser and type here Oracle Apex sign in. search for this, and you can see there is a second one, apex.oracle.com. Click on this. Okay, start for free today. We have an option called sign in here. Just click on sign in. Okay, so we need to create a workspace in order to work on this. So we don't have a workspace, so we need to create a new workspace. So I'm requesting a workspace here. Enter your name. And okay, give your first name, last name, email address, and it's technocrafttrainingacademy@gmail.com. Okay, and give any a relevant workspace name that I'm giving techno data. Okay, you can give anything that feel like it is relevant to you. It is just a workspace name, but we need to remember the workspace name that we provide. Also, the whatever the email address you provide, that should be an active email ID, since you are going to get a activation link on your email ID. So just provide your active email ID, then give a workspace name. Okay, and the country. Okay, usage is personal. So we are using it for our personal training purpose or learning purpose. So I'm using it as personal. Then click on next. Enter a different workspace name. Okay, let's choose a different workspace name. I'll take Technocraft Data Analytics. Okay. Survey. So this is a common survey. Just like to provide some of the basic information. Are you new to Oracle Apex? Yes. So if you're using it for the first time, then click X. Then do you plan to use Apex for education training? Yes, we are using it for education or learning purpose. So it is S. Then click on the next step. We have some service agreement. You guys can go through it. It's just like we don't need to like a disclosure of our data and all. Just go through these terms and condition, then accept the terms. Next. Okay, just verify your information, first name, last name, email address. Please concentrate on your email address if it is correct or not. Then country, India, personal, and workspace name. So we need to remember our workspace name. Like next time whenever we are going to query something, then we need this workspace name. It's a Technocraft Data Analytics. I've given the name. Okay, everything is correct. So I'm going to submit a request here. Okay, so once we submit a request, then uh, the team will send us an email to activate our workspace. So it may take up to 10 to 15 minutes to get an activate approval mail. Okay, let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, till I receive a mail, let me summarize all the points once again. Okay, so first we need to open our browser and provide enter Oracle Apex sign in. Okay, this is only for learning purpose, guys. So this is not used like in the offices or companies. This is only for our learning and educating purpose. Okay, and for like in the corporate world, we don't use this. So we use a SQL developer, MySQL, and all. So since like it is a free accessible for learning purpose, I'm going through this Oracle Apex. Anyhow, the querying and everything will remain same. Okay. So once you enter this Oracle Apex, then you'll get a page where prompting for the sign in. Just sign in, and since we are going to do it, we are going to use Oracle Apex for the first time. So we need to request for an workspace. So you'll see an option called request for new workspace. So click on it, and then uh, you'll have to provide all the information on the first tab, like your first name, last name, mail address, country name, and what is the purpose of this Oracle Apex, whether it is for personal usage. Then click personal usage, provide your active mail ID, since you are going to get an activation mail for your workspace. Okay, so once these informations are provided, then you'll get a next tab, you'll have a survey. So in the survey it will be like a two basic questions, whether you are new to Oracle Apex and you are planning to use Apex for educating or training purpose. So you can choose accordingly whether it is yes or no. After that, you'll have an agreement tab where you'll have a terms and conditions. You can go through all those terms and condition and then provide your agreement. At the last, you'll have a confirmation tab where you need to confirm that all the information that you are provided is correct, or you can review it and then provide a confirmation for the workspace request. Okay. Um, so once you provide confirmation, then you will receive an mail saying to activate an workspace. So just you need to click activate the workspace. Okay. So once you activate your workspace, then you can use Oracle Apex for all your querying purpose. Okay. So let me check mail if I have received a mail or not. Okay. So you can see I have a received mail confirming that whether I need to create a workspace or not. So let's click on create workspace. Okay, so request has been successfully created. So workspace has been successfully created for us. Now let's sign in. We need to provide a password. Provide a password that is easily accessible for you. Okay. Once again, guys. It's not matching. Okay. Why it is not matching? Okay, let me try once again. Let me try to provide a different password. Okay. Okay. So now we have signed in and password is also set. Okay, let's begin. So you can see here we have a different options like app builder, SQL workshop, team development, gallery, and all. Since we have not loaded any tables and all, so it is zero tables, zero application. And since I'm working on it, one developers. Okay. So today, like we'll just see how to load our data and how to use some of the basic queries. Okay, so first you need to go on SQL Workshop. Click on SQL Workshop. So here you will have another for five different options like object browser, SQL commands, SQL scripts, utilities, and RESTful services. So we'll mainly use on SQL commands and utilities. Okay, SQL scripts as well. So click on utilities and the first one data workshop. So this is used for loading the data. So I'm using data workshop. Then load data. Choose a file. So it's on desktop. Employees. Open. Okay. So you'll get a prompt asking what is the table name. So provide a table name here. Okay, so this is the data you are seeing. So this is how the data is there. Just a preview of data. We are able to see only 5 rows here. Okay, load data. There are 107 rows. So you are getting a table employees created with 107 rows. Okay, so now we have loaded our data. Let's go back. Okay, let's go to SQL commands and just run a very simple query of a select statement. Okay. Okay, so we can see all the data here. So I'm getting only 10 rows because by default the rows is set to 10. So if you want to fetch all the rows, then like we have 170 rows. So I'm choosing 200. That would be enough for us to fetch 170 rows, 170 records. So now we can see like we are getting all 170 records here. Okay. Okay, so we all know that SQL is case insensitive. So we can use the capital letters or the small case letters, but it is always advisable to use uppercase. Okay. So this is one of the very basic query like a select star from employees. Okay, so let's see some more examples of querying. So and it is always recommended to use semicolon after the end of the statement. Even though it does not make any difference in this Oracle Apex, but it is always recommended to use a semicolon after a completion of one of your command. Okay, so I'm just going through run some of the queries um, in order to get friendly with this Oracle Apex. So now we know that select star from employees gives us all the columns in the employees table, all the columns and rows. But in case if you want to fetch only some of the columns from this employees table, like if you need only the employee id and what would be his first name and last name. Okay, so now you'll get only the employee id is first name and last name from the employees table. Okay, so you can see you have information. Employee id is 100. So his first name is Steven and his last name is King. Okay, so you also want to know what would be his salary. So just add one more column, salary. Okay, so now we are able to see his salary as well. Okay, but you don't want to see all the employees' name. So if you are searching for any particular person, then we can use a where clause where first name. Okay, where first name equals to Steven. Okay, so we can see there are two employees with the same first name as Steven. One is Steven King and the other one is Steven Markle. So they are having a different salaries and employee IDs as well. So I like we have a primary key. Don't know if primary key is nothing but the data or the records like which are unique for each of the rows, which are not repeated, so we call it as a primary keys. So even the primary key will not contain any null values or duplicate values. So each and every table should have a primary key in order to join it with any other table or to get our required particular information, so we can use always a primary key. Okay, so in our case, in our table employee id is a primary key. So if I was looking for any Stephen King, then instead of giving his first name and last name, then I could have directly provided employee ID, which is unique for Stephen King. Then I could have got only the information related to Stephen King. Okay, so if I, for example, if I provide your employee ID only. Okay, and one more thing. So whenever you are providing any string values, we need to include the single quotes. Okay, for numerical values it is not required. For the string values we need to provide the single quotes or double quotes as well. Okay, so now we can see we are getting only one record with the employee id as 100, which is Steven King, and his salary as 24,000. So one more thing, so if you are looking we'll provide another condition. So you need all the employees name or employees id whose salary is more than 15,000. Okay, so for that we'll provide a condition: salary is greater than or equal to 15,000. So now you'll get a list of all the employees whose salary is more than 15,000. So we have only three members or only three employees whose salary is more than 15,000. So this is all like a manipulation of the data which is required when we are analyzing the data. So we'll not have all the data in a required manner. So that time we need to use all these kind of transformations, whose salary is more than 15,000, or whose first name is Steven. So any other who is working in particular branch and all. So for those all kind of transformations and all, we need a SQL for data analyzing. Okay, so now we know how to use wait clause and all, but let's check all the information. We can use select star, which gives all the columns from the employees table with the condition applied whose salary is let us make it as whose salary is greater than 7,000, or you can give an even a range between these. Let me give whose salary is greater than equal to 7,000, and you want to add one more condition, and salary is less than or equal to, I can say, 20,000. Okay, so now we'll get all the employees information whose salary is greater than or equal to 7,000 and less than or equal to 20,000. Okay, so we can see we have these many employees. 46, 46 rows are written, means we have 46 employees whose salary is greater than 7,000 and less than 20,000. So you can observe in the salary column we have 17,000, 9,000, 12,008. So this salary is in the range between 7 to 20,000. That means we are getting a correct records. So if you want to just know like a count of employees whose salary is between this range, then we can use a count query in order to get that. Let me count the employee IDs here in order to know how many employees are falling in this particular range. Okay, it's employee ID. 46. So last time we saw there were 46 rows. So we can use the count command to know how many employees are there in the this salary range. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the basic commands I have used in. Okay, so these were some of the basic SQL commands that I used to make um, get to know how we can use our Oracle Apex and all. So in our next session, we'll go through the a different commands that are used in SQL from our next session. Okay, guys, thank you. Please do subscribe our YouTube channel, and we are also available on the Facebook and Instagram. Please follow us and support us. We do have a WhatsApp community as well, so I have provided the registration link on the post. So please join us, and we can also discuss if you have any questions and all. Please comment your questions. We can go through your questions as well. So let me know in our next session, if you are facing any difficulties while installing Oracle Apex, then we can discuss on it as well. Okay, guys, thank you. Let's meet in our next session.